Tanan, Night of Horror in the Appalachians. Encounter with Bigfoot. Henry Thompson was an experienced hunter. He had spent many nights in the Appalachian Mountains, but this trip would change his life forever. His friend Sam insisted they venture into a deep ravine, whispered about with fear by the locals. People had vanished there without a trace, and those who returned could not speak of what they had seen. The Cursed Ravine. Henry and Sam set out on their journey, fully armed and prepared for any surprises. Their route took them through an old abandoned logging camp where, according to rumors, Bigfoot had once been spotted. The next evening, as they set up camp deep in the wilderness, strange things began to happen. The forest suddenly fell silent. No birds chirped, no insects buzzed. Then from the darkness, a sound emerged. Heavy, slow breathing, as if something enormous stood among the trees, watching them. Sam aimed his flashlight, and in the beam of light, they saw a horrifying creature. It was a tall, burly figure, covered in filthy fur. Its eyes glowed red, and bits of what looked like raw flesh dangled from its mouth. It let out a low growl and stepped forward. Escape into the darkness. Henry grabbed his rifle and fired. Branches splintered, but the creature didn't even flinch. It took another step, and in its eyes, Henry saw something terrifying. Not just rage, but a deep, almost human intelligence. Sam screamed and ran into the thicket. Henry followed, but then he heard his friend abruptly fall silent, as if something had yanked him into the darkness. Looking back, Henry saw the silhouette of the beast hunched over Sam's motionless body. Blood gleamed in the moonlight. Bigfoot slowly raised its head and let out another chilling growl. Death or survival. Henry ran without stopping. He could hear something chasing him, snapping branches and tearing through the earth with its giant claws. When he finally burst into the abandoned logging camp, everything went silent. Only a shadow on the edge of the forest reminded him of the horror that had pursued him. By morning, rescuers found Henry unconscious near an old cabin. From Sam, only a torn jacket remained, along with massive footprints that disappeared into the woods. Investigating the scene. The site where Sam had vanished became the focus of a local police investigation, but nothing was found except broken branches and enormous tracks. The police suggested that a wild animal might have attacked the young man, but Henry insisted it was something else, something far worse. A local paranormal investigator, Dr. Richard Graves, decided to examine the case. He brought sound recording equipment and a thermal camera. On the very first night, he and his team heard deep growls and heavy footsteps around their camp. The cameras captured a silhouette moving swiftly between the trees. Mysterious discoveries. After several days of searching, the team discovered a cave near the ravine. Inside, they found old bones and remnants of burnt clothing. Among the debris lay a hunting knife with the engraved initials ST, Sam Thompson. Dr. Graves recorded everything on video, but by the next morning, the files were corrupted. No recordings could be recovered. After the expedition, Graves refused to speak about what he had seen. Henry's disappearance. Years passed, and Henry, trying to forget the horror, lived in a small house on the edge of the forest. One evening, he heard a familiar growl. His heart pounded, but he convinced himself it was just his imagination. The next morning, his door was scratched with deep claw marks, and on the porch lay a torn shirt, his old hunting jacket, the one he had lost that fateful night. A few days later, Henry vanished. His acquaintances reported seeing barefoot giant footprints around his house. Turashaku. Final warning. A week later, a local newspaper received an anonymous letter. It contained only a few words. If you hear growling at night, do not go outside. Bigfoot always remembers its victims,